Emma Leroy, Kenzie.
Have you ever had that one pet that you love so very much? For me, that was my dog Kenzie. She truly was my best friend. Good morning, honorable judges, Mr. Chairperson, teachers, fellow classmates, and guests. Kenzie was a female 12-year-old dog who was a cross between an Australian Shepherd and a Blue Heeler. She lived her life from September 4th, 2002 to June 25th, 2015. Kenzie was a black and brown with a white belly. She was a very charming dog who didn't like other animals and loved to like anyone and everyone. My family loves to snowmobile, so we go out to BC about every 3 weeks to go snowmobiling on the mountains. We can get home pretty late at night sometimes, and when my Uncle Todd drives us home, my dad has to help my uncle unload the sleds. Kenzie loved to chase the sleds, and one night her leg got run over by a sled while my uncle and my dad were unloading them. Ever since then, she has had an injured leg. As she got older and older, she started to limp more and more. It was very painful for me to watch. Kenzie was a very strong dog. She had lots of nicknames too. I called her Puppy, Puppy Wuppy, Kenzie Wenzie, Licky Sticky because she looked so much, and of course, just Kenzie. Whenever I would call her Puppy, my dad would always say to me, "She isn't a puppy anymore." My dad had normally just called her Dog, especially when he was cross with her. Move Dog and Really Dog are just a few of the things I had heard my dad say to Kenzie. That's not all. There would also be Hello Kenzie or Come here Kenzie, come here. Kenzie was used to a lot of different names. She was an amazingly fun dog. When I was really little, probably a year or two, my mom and dad would tie a small toboggan to her collar and she would pull me around. It was like riding Santa's sleigh, except instead of a reindeer pulling, it would be a dog. Kenzie would also let me play games with her. I used to always play this game where I would put on a party, usually a birthday party, and Kenzie would be the special guest or the entertainment. To get Kenzie ready for the party, I would spray her with the water hose and then brush her so she would be super shiny and beautiful. After she was ready, I'd put a leash on Kenzie and walk her onto the front lawn and introduce her to the imaginary guests at the party. It was really fun. I'm sure most of us in this room have lost at least one pet. How did you feel when you lost that pet? When I lost Kenzie, I was devastated. It was the last day of school, the last day of grade 6. My class had just got back from pen pal camp and I was very excited to go home. I was super cheerful all day. When I got home and walked up the laneway, which took a really long time considering I had a suitcase and a garbage bag that held my sleeping bag and pillow, I said hi to my mom, hugged her, and then Kenzie came and limped up to me. I almost started to cry. My mom had told me that Kenzie would only eat puppy food, so she was going to take Kenzie to the vet soon. My dad came home from farming a couple hours later and had a quick bite to eat. My mom had to leave for work soon, and my dad had to go back to the farm, so he was going to take my brother, Colby, and I with him. We went with my dad into the grain truck for a while, and then he took us home. When we got home, Kenzie was lying under a big tree in the front yard. My dad told Colby and I to go inside the house. After a while, I went and stood on the deck and watched my dad with Kenzie. My dad saw me and motioned for me to come over to him. Right away, I knew that Kenzie had passed. I ran towards Kenzie crying and sat on the ground beside her. When I saw her, I cried even harder. I didn't stop crying for a really long time. I couldn't. My brother gave me a stuffed dog that looked like Kenzie that night to comfort me. Ever since Colby gave it to me, it has been sitting in my room so I can look at Kenzie each and every day. I got a new dog this summer named Maggie, and let me tell you, she is one huge brat.